This is the support Vindicator build for World vs. World and PvP. You'll be running the same traits in both game modes, but you'll have different gear, obviously, so we'll just go over that right now. I take Minstrels, full Minstrels with Monk runes in World vs. World, a Staff with Energy Cleansing, and a Greatsword with Energy Cleansing. Your dodges will heal your allies, so it's really important that you have those energy sigils, and you're constantly swapping your weapons to get more dodges, and your heal, as you can see here, does a lot of healing and barrier, so it's really high value to dodge, and dodging also helps you stay alive. The cleansing sigils, normally you'd be taking like transference on a zerging kind of support build, but because a lot of the times you can heal your allies but not yourself, for example, you have ranged support on your Tree Song and your Ventari stance, but sometimes when you do those, you're healing your allies and not yourself. So it's really important that you constantly gain that cleansing over time, because you may not be giving it to yourself, you may be giving it to someone at ranged. And this allows you to support your allies better because you don't have to choose between healing yourself and healing them, because you can just heal them and you'll be fine if you just keep swapping weapons and legends. Then in PvP, you'll be taking the Avatar Amulet with the Flock rune, and the Flock rune will give you a little bit of extra healing when you use the Ventari tablet, because it's a 10-second internal and you're constantly moving the tablet, which counts as a heal skill. So it's like an extra 1k healing there. And the sigils you'll be using are Transference, Energy. You can go for cleansing sigils here, but in PvP you kind of really need those transference sigils to be able to be a dedicated support. So you just got to be a little bit more careful in PvP, where you're not going to have as much cleansing for yourself. Though you will have other ways to cleanse yourself, like the cleansing channel and the staff 4. And if you really want to in PvP, it is easier to land Tree Song on yourself and your allies at the same time. Whereas in World vs. World, your positioning is a little bit more important, that you're not standing in danger's way. Whereas in PvP, you can stand in danger's way to get the cleanse on yourself and your allies. So that's pretty much the equipment there. You could go for Celestial instead of Minstrels in World vs. World if you wanted to be more small scale and maybe have a little bit more damage so that you could tag down bodies and get loot. Or you could even go for durability instead of monk if you're going for like a smaller scale thing there. But Minstrels with the monk runes is going to give you the most healing output to your allies. Now the traits over here, we have Salvation, Invocation, and Vindicator. Salvation is going to give you a lot of boon duration and healing. Whenever you dodge, it's going to give a little bit more healing on top of your already good healing on dodge. Then you've got Condition Cleanse whenever you dodge as well. And that's also very important, because whenever you cleanse a condition, you will give protection to that ally. So your dodge will give protection, cleansing, and it'll give barrier and healing. It's really important for support specs to be able to give many effects at once, because if it takes too long to heal, then the enemy will just kill your allies straight through your healing. So this makes your dodge do a lot of effects at once, this combo here. And then finally, I'm taking Unyielding Devotion, which is a little bit selfish, but compared to the other choice, which just gives a little bit more healing whenever you use your Centaur skills or your other legend skills, it's not really that important. So I feel like the extra self-defense is important, because, as I said, you're giving up a lot of your self-sustain in a lot of cases to heal others when you choose to range heal someone. So in Invocation, you're taking Cleansing Channel. This removes a condition whenever you swap legend, so that can give you protection on legend swap and on dodge. Also Spirit Boon, whenever you swap legend, you're going to give Vigor to allies and yourself, which is really important, because the more dodges you have, the more of all those effects you're giving. And whenever you swap into the Ventari stance, you're going to give out regeneration. Also, you can see the effect on Song of the Mist here is you heal for a lot when you swap into Ventari stance, and you also will give yourself and nearby allies a little bit of endurance when you swap into the Alliance stance. So essentially, you want to be just swapping your legends as much as possible to keep getting those effects and those boons and that healing. And you want to be swapping your weapon as often as possible as well, because that gives you more energy. So swap your legend and weapon as often as possible to get all of that healing benefit. Then in Vindicator, you'll be taking Redemptor's Sermon. This is just kind of like a get out of jail free card. Whenever you are really low, it's going to cleanse you and heal you. And the cleansing will also give you protection. So it's like if you get caught out, because the build does lack a bit of stun break. So if you get caught out and you get hit below 50% HP, it's going to give you a little bit more of that healing to survive so that you can get to your next dodge. And then you've got extra vigor effectiveness, which is important as well because you want more dodges. And then you're going to have, of course, the healing dodge. So that's pretty much the traits and the build. We're going to go over some of the skills here. So in the Kurzik stance, you have access to the heal skill here is going to heal nearby allies and yourself. So you got to be pretty close to those allies to heal them. Then you've got Battle Dance. This is a nice kind of evade if you're in the bad positioning or something like that. And then Tree Song is your heavy healing skill. It will cleanse up to 5 conditions in World versus World and will heal them for each condition cleansed. And because it heals and cleanses, it also gives protection. So it's just like your dodge skill where it heals them and it gives them protection and it cleanses them. But this is a way bigger cleanse and heal. So you want to be using this at range. And as you can see there, I can give regeneration as well. So Tree Song is like your main healing skill. If someone's taking pressure, they got a lot of conditions on them, Tree Song is insanely high value. Then there's also Awakening. This gives protection to yourself and nearby allies, and it will break stun on them as well. So if your allies are in danger, you want to give them Awakening to break their stun. It is kind of costly though, and it's also your only stun break, so you got to be very careful with getting CC'd and stuff like that. You have to be very careful with your positioning. Finally, there is the Urn of Saint Viktor. While you hold this, you're pulsing healing to nearby allies, but you yourself cannot be healed. And then you have to cast it again to stop the effect, and it'll heal a little bit afterwards and give more boons and healing depending on how low your health is. What you want to do with this skill is you want to use it in between your big heals. So if you do a Tree Song on someone and then you're waiting another 3 seconds to get your next heal, or your dodge is on cooldown, what you want to do is drop the Urn of Saint Viktor and just heal them in between. It's really good to use the urn with your heal, the dodge skill as well, because generally you're going to be taking a lot of pressure and you can't heal yourself. So you want to be evading while that's happening so you don't die. And also your dodge will give you barrier, and you'll lose barrier instead of losing health while holding the urn. So that's kind of how that works. Then you want to be swapping constantly, right? So swap to Ventari. You can see I get a huge heal there from the invocation passive there. And now you've got to hold the tablet around and move this. There's pretty much no cooldown on the tablet, so you want to just keep spamming your heal skill to keep it moving around and keep it where you want it. The most powerful skill here is the Purifying Essence, because it's just like Tree Song, where it cleanses a lot and then heals them for each cleanse. And because it cleanses, it gives protection. So this is your most important skill in the Ventari stance. You've also got a huge heal here, which gives vigor, which is nice because you want vigor. And you've got the Protective Solace, which will give swiftness, which is nice because you don't have any other access to swiftness, and will block projectiles. You do have access to empowered skills. So whenever you use your Ventari stance, you'll get an empowered skill. And the empower happens after using your elite skill or swapping into Ventari. So the Protective Solace gives protection when empowered. This gives a little bit more healing and endurance gain when empowered. And the Purifying Essence will cleanse more conditions when empowered. Also, your elite skill will give resistance, which is very powerful as well. And it will also knock enemies down in the area. So you can kind of use it as a engage tool. You can throw it in and then knock them down. and then that allows your team to engage on them, or you can go in with like your staff 5. So it's kind of interesting, but yeah, you have to be very mindful of the tablet's positioning as well as your positioning, which can be hard sometimes. So mainly you want to have the protective solace pulsing and blocking projectiles, and then just waiting for your purifying essence to come off cooldown and then dodge in between that. Sometimes if you have enough energy, you can use the natural harmony or the energy expulsion if you really need resistance, but you can actually dodge while you are immobilized, so the resistance isn't that important. But yeah, this will also cleanse a condition, so it'll technically give you protection as well. So a lot of cleanses means a lot of protection. And then just keep swapping back to the alliance stance between that. You can also swap between the Kurzik and Luxon, and you can get a little bit more stability. What I like to do for like stomping enemies is I like to do the Reaver's Rage, and then that gives me a lot of stability. Then I'll start stomping, and then I'll put out the projectile block. So it's a very safe stomp, but usually I don't like to go into the Luxon stance otherwise, because it's just kind of like damage. You can give like quickness, or you can have a little bit of mobility, but otherwise it's not really that good for a supportive role. So the weapon skills, while you're mostly using your utility skills to support allies, you do want to use your weapon skills as well. The most important skills are your blocks on your staff 3 and your block on your greatsword 4. And those are going to help you to stay alive, because as I said before, you're healing your allies at range, which is essentially forcing you to not heal yourself. So you need to protect yourself by blocking while healing your allies at range. And you can also use Phantom Onslaught, which is a mobility skill and will chill. Kind of nice for engaging as well on the enemy, and then your team can come in and you can support them. Or obviously the staff 3 is a block, and you can cleanse and heal yourself and your allies with Renewing Wave. And Surge of the Mist is a nice mobility skill that's an evade as well. So you got to use those protective skills on yourself to keep yourself alive so that you can support your allies. And obviously, while you're using the Urn of Saint Viktor, you also want to be blocking and stuff like that to keep yourself in a safe position while you're leeching your own life and unable to be healed. Here's a PvP match as the Vindicator support. We actually do have a support Guardian on our team, I think, as well, so we have to be mindful of our rotations here. The Thief is going to give us stealth here, so I try to blast it with my elite skill in Ventari, but I also had the Protective Solace up because I was trying to give swiftness, and that has a projectile field on it as well. So make sure you don't have that up if you're trying to blast someone else's stealth. Now I'm going to dodge on my ally here, give them the Tree Song, and then I'm going to just swap out because my Tree Song's on cooldown for a while. Go back into the Ventari stance, and I need to use my blocks and dodges to keep myself alive while putting the Ventari tablet on my team. Use my staff 4 to cleanse, and now I'm looking for where my allies need healing. I block near them, and I'm waiting for someone to take damage. I see my Harbingers a little bit out of position, so I go to heal them and support them. And my Catalyst is also pretty low. I'm putting the Protective Solace on top of my team and dodging on top of them. And now we've all got stunned, so I use Awakening to break us out of the stun, and the Staff 4 to cleanse some more. See, my Guardian is on the node by themselves, but we've got it down there. So I swap to the Ventari stance, use the elite skill while they're in stealth, and just keep autoing with my greatsword, which will give chill, which is kind of nice. Their Necromancer goes into their Lich, but our Catalyst is going to keep pressuring that. I give some heals to my Guardian on the node, and then we push out. Our Thief and Necro have gone to home, and they're now in a 2v2, but that's going to be eventually potentially a outnumbered situation for them if they don't get those kills. So I'm going to go in and try to give them my tablet from as far range as I can, and I give out the Protective Solace, swap to the Kurzik stance, give out the heal skill, and I use the urn as well because I want to give as much healing as possible because I came in there late, and they get those kills. So winning that initial team fight helped us out pretty well. But now they've already respawned and they're pressuring my Guardian on mid. I go for the Elite there probably. Nope, not yet. Protective Solace is going to give me some swiftness to be able to catch up. And I have my Necromancer here. We own the node, so I don't want to leave it. But I do want to stay with my team here. So I'm watching the node while trying to, yeah. So I'm going to have to go back to the node and prevent this from being decapped because I can't play the role of like a duelist as long as I own the node. And I have to be careful here not to take too much damage. I see that there's a Vindicator coming in. I blocked their initial attack, but there's now a Harbinger on me. I get stability so I can get through the fear with my Reaver's Rage, and I swap back to Kurzik stance. I dodge a little bit, and now my Catalyst is here, so we can go in with them and give them some healing, cleansing, and protection obviously at the same time. I dodge on them, and now I'm going to use my Staff 5 to CC them off. Tree Song's ready, and we're on top of our allies, so we're going to give that to them. Dodge on top of them. My Thief is here so they can pressure that, but I can't really play too aggressively on it. I use Awakening to remove the daze on myself and my ally. And now we're kind of in a bad situation because we're 3v2ing, and I don't get as much value out of being a support when we need to do damage, so I have to be aggressive using my Greatsword to chill them and any Luxon stance abilities if possible. Now, we've got the kill a little bit inefficiently, but I give myself some swiftness with the Protective Solace so I can rotate out and see where my allies need help. I see my Guardian is low, and I look at the map and I see that they are near home, so I start heading there to give them a little bit of a heal. And now I see one is rotating from the home node into mid, so I'm going to go back to mid to try to prevent that from being decapped. And the Catalyst is going into home, so this is good. I can defend this and probably not die against one player. And I see there's actually some people downstairs, so I might need to go help that soon. So my Guardian comes in, and I'm going to leave now. But yeah, I'm going to go and make sure that my Necromancer is doing fine down there. Looks like they've got the kill, so I don't need to do anything else. Our Catalyst is in a 1v1 at home, but there's not much I can do about that because I'm so far away. They're already dead. My Thief is 1v1ing another Thief at far, so there's not much I can do about that either because the Thief is just going to leave if I plus that. So I go back into mid to try to help out my Harbinger and Guardian here. Even though it's a 3v1, there's not really much else on the map I can do because we can't really go into home, which is already lost. And if we go into far, the Thief is probably going to just leave. So we just stay here. But it does end up that it looks like the Thief is outnumbered at far. So maybe I should have headed there in the first place. But yeah, we're just going to wait at mid. It was probably, yeah, a better play to go into far at this point. But I'm here. Actually, the Guardian is going into far, so that makes up for the rotation here. I'm going to protect my Harbinger here. And yeah, it's only one player, so we're going to try to rotate into home. See that my Harbinger wants to rotate, so I stay near mid to watch for any respawns. And I see that our Thief is kind of low, so I'm going to try to go help them out, give them a heal, but they're just going to disengage. Our Guardian is actually at far by themselves now, and they're going to get ganked. I can see they're 1v3 now, so I start heading there. And the rotations are pretty important as a support, so I'm going to come in here, give them the Ventari heals. They're pretty okay, but I don't really want to go into this fight, and I'm getting zoned by this fear wall. So they go in, and I can't get to them because I got zoned by the fear wall, and now they're dead because 3 players were focusing them. The Catalyst is here though, so I can support them, and the bottom buff is up. So we want to CC this Necromancer. Tried to use my Elite there to get the CC, but now we're going to go to the bottom buff and use my leap skills, Battle Dance as well, and I'm going to start capping the buff. And if anyone comes in, I can use Protective Solace to block any projectiles, or use my Elite here to stun the Thief, and this actually stuns them and prevents them from hitting me, long enough to actually cap the buff. So now we're doing pretty well. We've got a 3 cap, but we're going to lose mid probably because we're going to come in here late. Our Harbinger is a little bit behind, so I'm going to just try to speed them up with some cleanse and give them Protective Solace to give them more swiftness. And we're going to head into mid with them against the Core Necro. I get zoned by the Fear Wall again, and they put down a Plague Lands, I think, or was that maybe... Yeah, I'm just going to support my Harbinger here, giving them the heals there while my Purifying Essence is on cooldown. And I'm looking for someone who needs help. I give some stealth there to myself unnecessarily, but I swap to my dodge. My Harbinger's very low. I use my urn here to keep healing them. And we're not really sure about who the target is, but I definitely know that I'm being targeted by them, so I try to give myself blocks to survive. And you can see here my auto attack and staff is actually giving out cleansing bolts, which is kind of interesting because the Protective Solace is a light field, I believe. So if you use your staff auto in that, it creates cleansing, which would also give protection, which is kind of nice. But our Guardian died at home because they were outnumbered, and I kind of don't want to lose mid because we just fought over that. So I see that the Ranger's coming in mid now. They're signaling it, and I'm just going to try to hold this node while my team tries to push in too far. So we've got the tablet up. I can block projectiles if they're... I don't know what kind of Ranger this is. To be honest, I have no idea what it is. So if I'm blocking projectiles, it could be good, but it looks like it's a Condi Ranger with sword. So not really much I can do about the projectile block there. I'm just going to try to survive with the heals, and yeah, just hold this node. My Thief is actually really low. I see they come in, and I immediately use all of my healing on them, get them back to full HP, and trying to give them the heals and cleansing because it looks like they're being harassed by a Condi Thief. Though ideally they don't need to stand on the node because they're just getting the projectiles bounced on us. And I can heal him, but honestly, Thieves are pretty hard to heal because they're always moving around, so this is fine. I give out the Protective Solace again, and the Purifying Essence is ready, so I'm going to cleanse that, but they move out of my heal, so they're probably going to die here. They get a nice heal right before they go down, and I'm able to keep cleansing them, giving them the heals, and cleansing even more. But yeah, we're getting a lot of pressure here by just standing in all these Condis. The match is kind of close to finishing, and we only own one node, so we do really need to win this and not die. So we're fighting with everything we got here, giving our dodge to the Thief, and just keep healing them and cleansing them. I don't want to stay right on top of them because then we'll both take the same amount of damage. And now the Thief actually goes somewhere else. So this is kind of an ideal situation for me to bunker while they get the rest of the map. But it's going to be a difficult situation because I have to fight against a lot of conditions here. And even though I have a lot of cleanse, it's not the same amount of cleanse as World v World. So got a lot of poison on me actually. And that's really reducing my heals, but I have a lot of healing still. And even though I'm cleansing conditions, I just keep getting them again. 9 poison on me. I tree song that last bit of poison before I'm going to die. And I actually have the urn on. Did I have the urn? No, I didn't have the urn, but yeah, I'm going to be taken out now. But the match is about to end anyways, and we've held it long enough. So there you go. That's how you play the support Vindicator in PvP. If you like this content, then like the video, subscribe for more, and I will see you all next time.